And we are live, and it's close enough to 9 o'clock in the morning. I don't know why, but when I shared the link on Facebook, it would not load my thumbnail image. Oh well. Anyway, let's see. Good morning. We are coming to you live from beautiful downtown Crestline in the San Bernardino Mountains of Southern California's Inland Empire. On this beautiful Tuesday, the 13th day of March in the year of our Lord 2021. My heart just isn't in it lately. I have so little energy and so much to do. I need to finish. I must finish 2 stories by the end of this month. One for an Austrian publisher, I guess. The other for the next installment in the anthology series by Cliff Jones Jr., edited by him. The first one was Mirror Maze. This one is Somnoscope. So, of course, my first story had something to do with a mirror, and the next one will have something to do with sleeping and dreaming. I'm back in Great Granny's rocking chair temporarily. I tried to move some of the small furniture, stuff that weighs 10 pounds or less. It's going to take me a few days to get it done. And no, I don't want help with it. The kind of help I get is usually, let's do it my way. No, you don't get to do it your way when it's my stuff. Helping doesn't mean taking over. Well, anyway, Great Granny's rocking chair is here. Life in the time of COVID. I'm waiting for my wonderful chat room to get in here and help me out. You guys are smarter than I am and quicker than I am and have better memories than I do. Anyway, I suspect there might be something wrong with the connection again. I'm showing a strong connection on my end. Let's see, how's the connection? Is the video playing properly? Only one typo this time. What are you doing? You evil machine? It did something mean to me. E-O. Come on, mouse. There, here we go. Sometimes, even though I don't see any glitches on this end, you guys get glitches on your end. Anyway, what have I done? That's what I've done. Gotta have the morning cigarette to get going. Well, let's see. In various states, investigators are finding problems with those pieces of paper that we made the little dots on last November. and we're not allowed to talk about it. Well, that sort of thing has been going on at least since our second president, John Adams, cheated and won. Not that Jefferson was such a great guy, but okay. Oh, geez. Let's see. So, this sort of cheating has gone on forever. We raised a big stink in '64 when Lyndon Baines Johnson won by having every dead person in Texas vote for him. Mom was convinced that he actually had President Kennedy killed. I have a slightly different take on that. That whoever was behind it let LBJ, that's Lyndon Baines Johnson, they let him think he was in charge until the moment came when they reminded him that they could just as easily have shot him too. He was insane and evil and demon possessed. He actually micromanaged the war in Vietnam, telling pilots where they could drop their bombs and when they could drop them. And of course, the communications were so secure that the enemy knew beforehand where those jets could be, so they could shoot them down. It was a mess. And young people, all kinds of people, marched in the streets chanting, "Hey, hey, LBJ, how many kids did you kill today?" Most of our soldiers were kids, and most of the people getting bombed were kids. And racism in the 1960s was so bad that young black men could not get jobs. Hi, Jan. So they joined the military because they didn't want to become criminals. I remember it quite well. Many young white men, too, couldn't find a job. It was the beginning of the transition. It used to be that both young men and young women could start out pumping gas, at the gas station, checking your oil, washing your windshield, and pumping your gas. Well, that was beginning to go away for self-service. And all these kids still in high school or just out of high school had no jobs, no money, and nothing to do. Gee. And those who did not want to go on the street as criminals joined the military. Well, hello, what I think about. I'm not typing your whole name. Maybe I should call you Think About instead of What I. I'm too prone to typos. I have a weird form of dyslexia in which I type things backwards. And I get numbers backwards or in the wrong decimal place. Otherwise, I'm good at math. Oh, perfidious Albion. Hi, Steve BBB. There's a lot of you, so I'm just going to say hello, everyone. They have my chat room here. I sound like an idiot without you. Call you words, huh? I don't see words in your... Well, anyway. In a limited audit in the state of Georgia. They're claiming a 60% error rate in the early ballots. In Texas, they're prosecuting people for messing with those pieces of paper that we put little dots on last November. Hi, Tim. A name I can spell and pronounce. Yay. Yeah, Mom called me Tess. Bill, my husband, called me Tessa. And according to numerology, the system promoted by Glynis McCants, the numbers lady, when you add the A to Tess and make it Tessa, it changes from a number 9 to a number 1. So Phil made me number 1 by calling me Tessa. I love that. Of course, I didn't know about Glynis McCants, the numbers lady, back then. You know, I knew there were horoscopes in the Sunday paper, right next to the funny pages, the comics. But I think there might be something to these numbers. They say that the number 8 will bring you money and the number 4 will drain your money. Especially if it's in your house number, in your address. Well, mine comes out to 8, so there. But it ain't bringing me much money. So anyway, I'm working on these stories. One was already paid for several months ago, so I really must finish it. And I can't say a whole lot about it because the publisher in Austria has all kinds of deals in the works. So mum's the word, but it does have something to do with Mary Magdalene. The one I'm working on for Somniscope, the second of these dreampunk anthologies. Dreampunk is like steampunk with a bit of the, I don't want to say occult. Well, let's just say it's a bit eerie or woo-woo or One Step Beyond style or Twilight Zone. The first one, of course, is Mirror Maze. I have a story in that one involving a mirror. The story I'm writing for Somniscope, somni meaning sleep, like insomnia. My story will have to do with sleeping and dreams. And it's going to be a little more edgy than Mirror story. I like a kinder, gentler murder mystery, or in this case, well, the one in Mirror Maze, which I called The Mirror Cracked, was about a pandemic that was killing everyone. And oddly, I wrote it before they announced COVID, a month or two before then. So maybe I am a little psychic. I always claim to be. I'm not sure how this story's going to come out, Jan. In a book, as a Kindle, maybe something audio visual. I just don't know. It'll be out of my hands. But it could become a series. We'll see. Anyway, in the one I'm working on now, this woman has Well, yeah, of course they're big on Mary Magdalene in southern France. The legend says that she and her daughter went to southern France after the crucifixion. Maybe, but Holy Blood, Holy Grail is a bunch of hoo ha. It's poorly researched and highly speculative. However, there is a tradition in the line of British kings, not British, I'm sorry, French kings, the royalty, that, oh, I forget the name of it, but one of the royal families was supposed to be somehow related to Jesus. It's been too many years since I looked into that. But apparently the whole family was killed, but a loyal knight managed to rescue an infant of that bloodline. The only word that comes to mind is Plantagenet, and that isn't it. Mary dropping a dress from out of the sky? I don't know that one, Tim. I really am clueless. Supposedly, the bloodline of those French kings, and I forgot their name, is somehow not only royal but also holy. God, my brain's not working. I should know what they were called. Ages. Good old Google to the rescue. Carolingian is, no, that's Charles, not the Capetians, named for Hugh Capet. Let's see. Who is the first king of France? Philip II? That's the Capetians. French royalty before Capetians. Bavarians. I can't for the life of me remember. Okay, never mind. Merovingian, thank you. Let's see. What we call them, at least in English, is Merovingian. Come on, get back in the thingy. M-E-R-O. Merovingian. Yeah, and they were replaced by somebody when they were all killed off. Merovingian dynasty, the ruling family of the Franks from the 5th century till 751. So they weren't kings of France, they were kings of the Franks, which was not all of France. Long story. Clovis is the name that always sticks in my mind because we talk about the Clovis culture in the Americas, supposedly the first human culture here, that we all came from Asia and migrated here, all the Native Americans. Bunch of hoo-ha. Yeah, the time before Charlemagne, King Dagobert II and his descendants used fables to perpetuate the succession of the royal bloodline. Are there any Merovingians left? Well, nearly everyone in Europe and the Americas is somehow related to the Merovingians. Okay, Merovingian replaced by, the Carolingians, the Charlemagne family, starting with father Charles Martel, Charles the Hammer. So, Charlemagne, supposedly this magical war leader and ruler and all that, came to the throne because his father, I forget the title, but the really highest official under the Merovingian king, killed the king and took over. Nice family. Oh, wow. I got itchies. This is crazy weather. It's down to highs in the mid 80s instead of the high 90s, which is helpful. But I'm totally fried from all this heat. The girdle of Thomas. Supposedly the other Mary the Virgin dropped some article. Don't know those. I don't know those legends. And by the way, a myth, when you call something a myth, you are not necessarily saying that it's false. A myth means a story that involves something divine, like a god or magic. But that does not necessarily mean it didn't happen. Like the guy who had a vision that he should found a city where a cow lay down. I think that it was Thebes in Greece that was founded where the cow lay down. The guy found a cow lying down and he built a city there. Now, the part about how the cow used to be a human woman who had an affair with Zeus, so that Zeus's wife Hera, who was jealous, turned her into a cow, that might not be true. But when you call a woman a cow, that's what it refers to. And then there was Europa. Very much the same story. Hera turns her into a cow and has the gadflies repeatedly sting her, never letting her rest. Well, Europa, as a cow, ran all over the continent of Europe, and so Europe was named after her. The girdle of Thomas, huh? I'm not a Catholic and I'm not much of a churchgoer. I am studying the scriptures and, of course, interpretation of scriptures, but I'm not too much into the hagiography, the study of the saints. As I read the New Testament and the Old, all believers are saints, and the real translation of the Hebrew or the Greek is actually holy ones. Believe you're in. You don't have to be anyone special or do anything special, you just believe. Remember Abraham, who started all this stuff with Jews and Gentiles and so forth. He was a pagan. He wasn't circumcised. There was no temple. But he believed God, and God took his faith for righteousness. And Abraham did some really stupid things, like fathering a child with his wife's maidservant. By the way, when God said, "Everywhere your feet touch the ground, I will give it to you and your descendants," God didn't say, only the descendants of Isaac. That includes the descendants of Ishmael. So that has led to all kinds of warfare over centuries and centuries, since, around the year 700, when Muhammad gathered a following. And since Abraham also went down to Egypt, maybe God gave that land of Egypt to Abraham, but not necessarily to Isaac's descendants, maybe to Ishmael's descendants, the Arabs who are in charge of Egypt today. And oddly, Egypt and Israel seem to be pretty good friends as international politics goes. Who knows? It's back to relics for a moment. The Shroud of Turin. Well, it's definitely the image of someone who was brutally killed on a cross. I think they've even typed the blood. If I remember correctly, it was B positive. But I don't know whether it's the shroud that covered Jesus. I have no clue. I do know that all these crazy scientific tests that people have done are really not that great. Morgan Hanam. Hello. Wow. But I do know that Mary Magdalene found the empty tomb, and she ran to tell the apostles, the disciples, the 12, and they didn't believe her. Why? Because she was a woman. And yet, during Jesus' lifetime, she was the one in charge of all the women disciples. See, the 12 were not all the disciples. They were just the ones he called out, the first 12. But Jesus was for women's rights. I got cat hair tickles. I gotta vacuum again. There's cat hair everywhere. When one of the Marys, and we'd never know which one because there were so many women named Mary, but probably the Magdalene, was sitting at Jesus' feet and he was teaching. Martha, who'd been working in the kitchen, complained, "Why is Mary out here with the men? She should be in the kitchen helping me." And Jesus said, "Nope, she's where she belongs. Leave her alone." We don't know which Martha either. There were so many Marthas. So we find a tomb with all these ossuaries, stone bone boxes with names like Jesus and James and John and Joseph and Mary. We can't know whether they're Jesus's family or any other family because those names were common. Now, was that the wind or another cat? I leave the doors open for my cats. There's two of them. But there's this house down the street where they have too many cats and don't take very good care of them. So there's two of those that come around to eat. One comes every day and sits by the door until I open it. The other just comes from time to time. And I don't need more cats. Please. Oh, there's Tora. Hi, sweetie pie. Come say hi to your adoring fans. This is the main cat, the one who is tame and doesn't think I'm going to murder her like Sweetie does. Such a good kitty. Once in a while, I get a still picture or even a short video of Sweetie and put it up on Facebook. She's a black tuxedo kitty with the nicest white feet and white tummy. But she thinks I'm a cat murderer. Yes, Tora, you're cute. Oh, wow. There's Howard and Jan and Tim and Morgan and what I think about. I got a nice, good chat room today. And apparently my connection is solid. I've repeatedly complained about Verizon to various agencies because, okay, I get 15 gigs of high-speed internet plus unlimited data. But when I've used up those 15 gigs, they are allowed to slow down my service. However, they have been turning it off entirely, and I caught them turning off my service when I still had plenty of my 15 gigs of high-speed internet. So maybe they've been listening finally. They called me on the phone and gave me a great big runaround. The truth is, I actually have 45 gigs of high-speed internet each month because I have 3 devices, each with its own 15 gigs. And they've been playing games and slowing down my internet or even turning it off when I'm using the 15 gigs of high-speed connection, while charging me an arm and a leg for 45 gigs last about half a month. For me, I use the internet a lot because I'm trying to earn money on the internet. So it's kind of important to have reliable service. And they actually tried to shame me for using so much data. Oh, you used 70 gigs last month. Yeah, but 45 of those were my high-speed internet, which left 25 on data without the high-speed service. That's not a lot. And they really, I pay for unlimited data, not data when they feel like providing it. I know that when my modem says connected and no service, they have turned it off. They're evil. Now, I've thought and thought about switching to Spectrum, which is a cable internet, but the people in my area are constantly posting complaints on Facebook that Spectrum is down. Any idea when it might come back up? I have to post on my phone because I have no internet. Well, me and the phone, we don't get along too well. It's a smart aleck. And it's hard for me to press the right button on something so tiny. I don't know how these kids do it with their thumbs. My fingers are too big. My thumbs, I'd be all thumbs. Anyway, let's see. I was kind of getting back into looking at the Bible here and there. So let's see. Mary Magdalene, New Testament, because I don't remember which. Yeah. Okay. Luke chapter 8. Luke 8. I'm going to go for the ESV. I like that translation. Now, see, in Luke chapter 7, let's go back to chapter 7. I'll give you the link if you'd like, in case you'd like to follow along. If I remember correctly, here we go, verse 36. Okay, Luke 7:36. A Pharisee invites Jesus to dinner, and one of the Pharisees asked him to eat with him. And he went into the Pharisee's house and reclined at table. See, they didn't sit on chairs back then. They sat on pillows, cushions on the floor. And behold, a woman of the city who was a sinner, when she learned that he was reclining at table in the Pharisee's house, brought an alabaster flask of ointment, and standing behind him at his feet, weeping, she began to wet his feet with her tears and wipe them with the hair of her head. Mouth, and kissed his feet and anointed ointment. Now when the Pharisee who had invited him saw this, he said to himself, if this man were a prophet, he would have known who and what sort of woman this is who is touching him, for she is a sinner. Now see that the Pharisee only thought it, he didn't say it out loud. And Jesus answering said to him, Simon, I have something to say to you. And he answered, say it, teacher. A certain money lender had 2 debtors, one who owed 500 denarii and the other 50. When they could not pay, he canceled the debt of both. Now which of them will love him more? Simon answered, the one, I suppose, for whom he canceled the larger debt. And he said to him, you have judged rightly. Then turning toward the woman, he said to Simon, do you see this woman? I entered your house. You gave me no water for my feet, but she has wet my feet with her tears. Entered someone's house, there a meal, you were supposed to wash your feet. The Pharisee didn't bother, did he? But this woman washed his feet. Now, verse 46, you did not anoint my head with oil, but she has anointed my feet with ointment. Therefore I tell you, her sins, which are many, are forgiven, for she loved much. But he who is Jesus talking to the sinful woman, your sins are forgiven. Then those who were at table with him began to say among themselves, who is this who even forgives sins? And he said to the woman, your faith has saved you. Go in peace. Now, people assume that this sinful woman was Mary Magdalene. That's a mistake. She isn't even named. We don't know who she was. But then in chapter 8, and the 12 were with him, and also some women who had been healed of evil spirits, puzzled manager, and Susanna and many others who provided for them out of their means. Well, now that woman at the dinner say that it's the same person. There is a scene. Okay. Mary Magdalene anoints Jesus' feet. There is a scene like the Last Supper, and this is not the Last Supper. Matthew 26. Come on, get in the freaking box. Yeah. Since Verizon is playing games, James Bible. Matthew 26. Oh, Lord. Matthew 26. 4, 5, 6. Leper. And Luke, Simon the Pharisee. This is Simon the leper, a different Simon. It's a lot, and this doesn't even say. Judas complains that why trouble ye the woman, for she hath got a good, for in that she hath poured this. Excuse me, but evil horizon. Evil Verizon. Okay. Jesus says this woman, Mary Magdalene, she has no name at all. Verizon will quit playing games. There we go. And being in Bethany in the house of Simon the leper, as he sat at meat, Mary Magdalene, they knew who she was. Jesus drove 7 demons out of Mary Magdalene. In the house of Simon the leper, or in the house of Simon the Pharisee. I did so much want to discuss Mary Magdalene today. I guess Verizon doesn't like Christians. Oh, and way back there, I mentioned things like, those pieces of paper that you put dots on to choose people. Oh, the horror. Look, I don't see much in the way of reform happening, no matter what these oddest do. I do wonder about Mary Magdalene. I do not believe she married Jesus or bore his child. Jesus was not an official rabbi. Would have had to be approved by the Pharisees, and they were asking him, by what authority do you teach? A rabbi. I can imagine his mother, though, and within his family, Jesus was looked upon as a weirdo. Throttling. I still have plenty of supposedly high speed internet. I can go into the bathroom, you know what? Ooh, I think you get the gist of it. In my story of Mary Magdalene, there's a sex that apparently costs more. Yeah, my modem says no service. They're not allowed to turn it off. I have my 15 gigs of high-speed internet, but they don't. Sometimes I think it's YouTube, but really I think it's Verizon. They're spam. Oh, by the way, yesterday my printer turned on for no reason. Verizon.